What up, Chef? What up, IG? What's going on, family? What up, IG? What up, Facebook, YouTube? So, hopped on real quick. If you don't know, I am hosting a free webinar. Put the letters behind you backwards. Chef, I don't know how to fix that. You know, I don't know much about, hold on. You're going to have to show me how to fix that, Chef. How do I change that? Yeah, put the instructions in there for me. All right, so for those who just hopped on, I got Instagram, I got YouTube, Facebook, and I know the words behind me. I don't know how to flip the camera on Instagram. I don't know if they got, I don't know that feature. Y'all know I'm social media illiterate. I just know how to buy real estate and make money and help people. So I'm coming on because I want to let people know about my webinar that I'm hosting tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'm going to be teaching people how to get up to $110,000 of business funding in the next 10 business days. So, and you want to be on there. You want to be on there. See, yesterday I did a live on TikTok where I talked about the reason why a lot of businesses are not thriving, because they're in a state of what is called non-existence. And so one of the things that, you know, as I've traveled this world and when I'm working with people and speaking with individuals, one of the things I often hear people talk about is something called the law of attraction. Okay. They want to attract money. They want to attract people. They want to attract success. They want to attract a man. They want to attract a woman. It's something called the law of success. But did you know that most people actually skip a law, which is why the law of success or the law of manifestation doesn't work? Because there's multiple laws. Okay. This is why you don't hear people talk about the secret. This is why when people leave the room from that motivational workshop, the motivation wears off. And so there's something called the law of vibration. Okay. The law of vibration. And I talked about this yesterday. And one of the laws of vibration, there's actually a couple, but one of the lowest laws of vibration, why so many people have a hard time getting to that next level, is because they're in a state of confusion. Most people are in a state of confusion. And when you look up the definition of confusion, it is a state of chaos. It's a state of chaos. And so people who are confused don't know what to do. I'll give you an example. If you've been on this journey for 3 years or better and you're still in the same position, you are in a state of confusion. There's no other way around that. You're in a state of confusion. And the only way to get out of that is you have to go through proper steps of conditioning in order to actually have the actual steps. So if you're looking to what we call vibrate at a higher level, the only way you can do that is through training. Well, Will, how does this have anything to do with my business? Well, one of the reasons why your business isn't thriving after 7 years, some people have had a head start since COVID. They were giving money away. People was buying anything that was moving and breathing and fogging the mirror, and people are still going backwards. It's not that people aren't spending money. Ask FanDuel. It's not that people aren't spending money. The concerts are jam-packed. What it is that people aren't putting themselves in a position in order to actually thrive. And one of the reasons they can't do that is because they don't have any money. Look, I'm going all in on real estate. I don't know what you're going to go all in on. I am going all in on real estate. It's been the easiest way. It was the easiest way for me to become a millionaire. I tripped into being a millionaire, buying real estate. And the thing that I keep telling people is that Why are we going out there still trying to test things out when there has been a proven system that guarantees your success financially? And there is no other way to position yourself financially than to own real estate. Like, think about this. There's really only 4 or 5 things you can invest in. There's only 4 to 5 things that you can invest in. Literally planning to go all in next year. Why you got to wait next year, Chef? No, you don't wait till next year. You start today. And I know you say you're getting your business credit together, but what are you doing? See, that's the other thing we got to stop doing. We got to stop saying, "Oh, I'm going to go to the gym next year. I'm going to start on my." No, you got to get started today. See, there's only about 5 things you can do to invest, to set yourself up or your future. You can invest in stocks, crypto, start a business, life insurance, and real estate. That's it. There's nothing else you can invest in. Start a business, life insurance, stock, crypto, and life insurance. If I didn't say that, have to get credit and money right so I can invest. Now, Chef, I'm gonna be a little rough with you today. Money should never be the reason why you can't do something. You got to go figure it out. Go drive Uber, go donate blood, sell some clothes. Like, we have to start operating at a sense of urgency, because what if next year the banks say we're not lending to new businesses anymore? Chase has already cut their lending guidelines to where a new business is getting $25,000 to $10,000. Unless you're dealing with the direct representative, they don't even accept applications from national reps anymore. We got to start learning we have to start having a level of critical thinking and learning how to figure some ish out. Because if you plan on being successful in business, you're going to deal with problems every single day. Let me give you guys a problem that I had to deal with. Okay? Let me give you guys a problem I had to deal with. I have a business that's barely moving, ramping up my nonprofit to get some money. Well, you probably need a mentor. Brian, help Chef out. Let them know the only way you're going to move your needle is you got to get in the system. You trying to figure it out is not going to get you to that next level. Okay? So now, here, let me tell y'all the problem I was dealing with. Okay? Let me tell y'all the problem I was dealing with. Okay? I bought some properties back in 2021. I bought 4 short sales. Paid cash. They were already cash flowing. Last year, I tried to refinance. The bank halted my refinance and said, "Oh, the mortgage company put a lien on your properties." So now I have $500,000 in real estate that I can't borrow against tax-free because there's a lien on 4 properties. Now, let me ask you all a question. What do you do? Do you sit around and say, "Oh, man, I'm going to wait until 2026 to get this figured out"? Do you sit around and get mad and complain and go post subliminals on social media? What do? No, you figure a workaround. You pivot. You keep working. You hire professionals, because here's the reality. It was inevitable that they had to release it. So what I did was I got my attorneys. Shout out to Tiffany Hill, Esquire. How'd you get a mortgage lien and you paid cash? Because the title company didn't submit something to the previous mortgage lender. So they dropped the ball. So that's why I knew it was a slam dunk for me. It was just a matter of them releasing it. Now, it took almost a year, but It was because they didn't want to admit fault. Now we're about to go into litigation because now I'm going to sue them. But here's the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is in life, we will sit around in a state of confusion trying to figure it out as opposed to letting the professionals handle what the professionals do. So I can go over here and position a new game to play. Let me put that in layman's terms. So what we will do is we will say, oh, my credit is bad. So we'll sit around with bad credit trying to figure it out ourselves for 2-3 years. Meanwhile, not knowing that there's other strategies that you can utilize to still be able to get real estate and grow your business. But I'm going to be brutally honest why we don't do it. That's what title insurance is for. Yeah, I had title insurance, but they dropped the ball. Keep in mind, we're still dealing with humans. So here's why most people stay in a state of confusion, because the solution costs money. That is the only reason why people stay in a state of confusion, because solutions cost money. That's the only reason. There's no other way around it. So guess what my solution was to get out of that title issue faster? They wasn't going to talk to me. So I hired an attorney because I couldn't even get anybody on the phone. So guess what? I had to pay for the solution so it can go faster. But here's what some people would do. People would have been on social media, dropping subliminals, cussing people out, calling Fox 5, calling Fox 12, saying people are racist. And we would have been doing all of this hoopla as opposed to just just going directly to the solution. Let me put that in layman's terms. We will sit around with bad credit, not knowing that there's other strategies. We will go out there and continue to keep, hold on. They want to know how much time the solution takes. It don't matter how much time it takes. It's going to take longer with you trying to figure it out yourself. I'll give you an example. I know people who have been trying to get business funding for 4 years. It doesn't take 4 years. I have a client on here, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't mind me sharing this. Brian, one of my star mentees, who's probably going to have one of the largest real estate portfolios in the next 12 months because it finally clicked for him. Brian will tell you, Will, I was stuck for 2 years because I was trying to figure it out myself. And I kept telling him, I said, Brian, the only way you're going to get out of your way is you're going to have to pay for a faster solution. He didn't want to do it at first. Guess what? It took him another year. Meanwhile, there were people lapping him because they were willing to pay for the solution. And so then when Brian finally broke down, paid for the solution, boom, $125,000 in funding. Boom, $75,000 in funding. Boom, about to close on his property next week. He said, dang, coach, that's all I had to do. I said, Brian, it's literally that simple. But here's why people won't pay for the solution, because they don't understand the cost of money. We know the price of things. People know the price of shoes. People can tell you the price of a purse. I guarantee you there's somebody right now who's never stepped foot in a Rolls Royce, but can tell you the cost down to a penny. They've never stepped foot in a G-Wagon, but can tell you the cost down to the penny. But they can't tell you the ROI on a purchase price of a property when you borrow debt at 7% interest rate. We don't know the cost of money. Why? Because we're not willing to make the investment to solve the problems. And as soon as Brian got out of his way, his problems got solved just like that. They want to know if it's legit. That's a BS response. Because most of the stuff y'all do in life is not legit. Most of this, here's what I mean. Okay, I'm gonna give an unpopular opinion. If we're gonna continue to play the ROI game, okay, because see, I bring statistics. I want everybody to go to the Department of Education right now and look up the average lifetime earnings for someone with a bachelor's degree. It's $1.2 million. So someone with a bachelor's degree, average lifetime earnings, which means 40 years of working, is $1.3 million approximately, which breaks down to about $37,000 a year. Meanwhile, I have 26-year-olds who's been in my program for less than 2 years, who's making that a year off their real estate portfolio. Still got the mini gloves. Absolutely. Agent Zero. Hold on. Matter of fact, I keep them in my bag. I still got the mini gloves, family. Thank you. Thank you, man. Yep, I still got the mini gloves right here. All right. Most people aren't willing to pay for the solution. That's really what it boils down to. That is what it boils down to. And so why would people continue to go and do things the old way that has documentation that it doesn't work? Because they're in a state of confusion. So when you think about the law of vibration, okay, the law of vibration, you can go and look this up. I don't ever want you to take Will Roundtree's word. I want you to go and do your own research. See, this is the type of stuff I study. Okay, I don't know the lyrics to all of Drake's new song, What Did I Miss? But I can tell you the laws of vibration. I think that'll help me out a lot further than knowing the lyrics to Drake's new song. Okay, I'll go to the concert, but I don't know the lyrics. So I'll be in there just nodding my head. I can't recite. If he gave me the mic, I can't recite. But I can recite the ROI on the properties that I purchased. I can show you how to figure out the ROI. And so because people aren't willing to pay for solutions is because they don't understand the cost of money. They don't understand the ROI of money. Let me give you another statistic, okay? Per Vanguard. Again, I want you to look this up. You don't have to take Will Roundtree's word, okay? Per Vanguard. And then I'm going to let you guys know how to jump on my free webinar today in the next 30 minutes. You can go to roundtreemasterclass.com. Go to roundtreemasterclass.com to jump on my free webinar if you want to get to that next level. Okay. Now, per Vanguard, they did a study, okay, of what the average person has saved after working for 40 years in a 401k. And if you don't know much about the 401k, I want you to go on YouTube and look up Dan Benna, Benna. Mr. Benna said the 401k was not for the employee to benefit. It is a tax write-off for the employer. Okay? It doesn't benefit you. It actually benefits the employee. The employer. Now, Vanguard did a study and broke down how much the average person has after 40 years of working. Okay. See, I make decisions based off of math. I don't care about emotions. Okay. I don't care about emotions, only math. And so mathematically, after 40 years, they say that if you max out your 401k, you should have $242,000. Somebody do the math. What's 242,000 divided by 40? Who can tell me what is $242,000 divided by 40? Somebody do the math for me real quick. Okay. Hey, I was trying to join the master class, but I haven't got the link yet. I need somebody from my team. People aren't getting the links. Somebody from my team, contact. I need y'all to send out the links. Okay. You're also going to get a text message. It's a lifestyle. We're going to also text you the link. Okay. And check your spam folder. All right. Thank you. It's $6,000 a year. Okay. So that the average person who saves, or excuse me, if somebody saves $242,000 after 40 years, that means they've saved an average of $6,000 a year. Okay. When you look at the average cost, the average cost to live per year is $37,000 to $50,000. You're going to run out of money in 2 years. That's why when you go to the Walmart, McDonald's, this is why you see in a lot of our elders working in these jobs, because the system tricked them into failure. But here's the even sadder part about that. They said, not only does the average person not have 242,000, the median is actually 82,000. So somebody divide 82,000 by 40. Tell me what that number is. That should be a horror movie. The average, the median amount of money saved in a 401k after 40 years is about $82,000. Somebody take 82,000 and divide that by 40. Somebody tell me what that number is. It's $2,050. $2,050 a year, not a month, but a year. Ladies and gentlemen, most people don't even know that they're losing in life. Welcome to the state of confusion. This is why your manifestation isn't working. You're in confusion. How can you manifest riches? How can you manifest success? And you're confused on how to be successful. Every action you do doesn't have an end game to it. Oh, I'll save for a rainy day. And then you find out it rains every day. You have to invest for a rainy day. Let me show you some more basic math, okay? Because numbers don't lie, okay? Let's say you get a 2-family. Let's just say all you do is buy one 2-family rental, okay? You get one 2-family rental, okay? And after all expenses, you make an additional $300 per side. So you have a 2-family. So each side you're going to make $300, which is a total of $600. Okay? $600 from one rental. Let's say it takes 2 rentals to make $600 a month net profit. Somebody check, write this math down. Okay? So you got two investment properties. It's giving you a net rental income of $300 each, which is $600 total net cash flow. It's not going to make you rich. You're not going to quit your job, but I'm going to show you how compound profits work. Somebody take 600 and multiply that by 12. Somebody tell me what that number is. Somebody tell me what 600 times 12 is. I already know the answer, but I want y'all to know. This is how I'm teaching you how to get out of confusion. Somebody take 600 and multiply that by 12. This is how you start to learn how to calculate ROI. Okay. Thank you, Often Nerdy. It's $7,200. Okay. So now ask yourself this question. You're going to go and work your 9 to 5, which is okay. And you're saving an average of $2,000 a year, but you have to physically get up and work 160 hours a month. And while you're working 160 hours a month, you're going to make an investment and buy some investment properties. Thank you for that. Appreciate that, family. And you're going to get net rental income for doing nothing. You're still going to live your life. You're still going to go to your 9 to 5 or whatever it is, however you live your life. I teach my I teach my mentees how to build a business in real estate so they don't even lift a finger. And they're going to make $7,200 a year from 2 investment properties, which you can do in 1 year. Now, if we take that 7,200 over the 40 years that you have to work anyway, Katina, what's 7,200 times 40? What's 7,200 times 40? Somebody do that math for me, please. I forgot my other phone, so I don't have my calculator. So we're going to take the same amount of years that you're going to have to, well, you're really going to have to work more than 40 years. You're probably going to have to work 60 or until your demise, unfortunately. What's 7,200 times 40? Okay. 7,200 times 40. Somebody give me that math, please. I want to give exact numbers here. Okay. That's $288,000. So you mean to tell me somebody who has a net rental income of $600 is going to make more money doing nothing than someone who has to work for 160 hours to go and sit around a bunch of people who probably don't like them and you don't like and they don't like you, and you got to suck up to your boss and laugh at his or her corny jokes, and you got to eat people's food at the nasty potluck, and you got to go in on your off days and your sick days and on graduation days, and you still are going to have 1/3 after retirement than if you had 2 investment properties? Now imagine if you double that up and you have $1,400,000 a year. Now you're at $500,000 after 40 years for not even using your own money. I'm going to show you how to use this. And you don't have to sit around and laugh at somebody's corny jokes. And you don't have to go to the nasty potluck. And you don't have to eat the dry macaroni. And you don't have to. You can actually take days off. You can stop filing exempt on your W-9 or W-4, whatever it is. Y'all know who y'all are, putting exempt so you can get your whole paycheck. And then you're appalled. You're clutching your pearls at tax time. How do I owe money? You didn't have any taxes taken out. That's why you owe Uncle Sam. And then you cussing the person out who did your taxes, thinking they stole your money. No, you kept all your money, ma'am. You kept all your money, sir. H&R Block didn't take it. Jackson Hewitt didn't take it. You done cussed every person out because you filed exempt on your paycheck. That's your fault. Why? Because you don't understand economics. So for those who just joined me, I'm talking about why people will continue to stay poor. And then they're surprised and mad when they're 50 and still got to work. All of the years I put in for this company and they don't care. They like this your life. You should have figured this out. Your boss is sitting back right now saying you should have figured this out, sir. You should have figured this out, ma'am. We was playing Will Roundtree in the break room and y'all didn't listen to him. So you're going to have to stay here. And we're going to cut your pay. That's why we got to learn this, ladies and gentlemen. Look, I need you to get out of the state of confusion. And unfortunately, to get out of the state of confusion, sometimes you have to pay for a solution. And if you're unwilling to pay for a solution, then just stay in the confusion. That's okay. That's okay. I avoid confusing people. I avoid them like the plague. For anybody who's ever read the book 48 Laws of Power, it talks about stay away from the unhappy and unlucky. I do not deal with people who are always, whoa, it's me. Because you have the same opportunity, probably even better than I had. Well, people say, we only got 24 hours in a day. That's not true. You actually have when you learn how to leverage somebody else's money, you actually have more than 24 hours in a day. This is why people who understand leverage can multiply, quadruple their cash flow using somebody else's money. So I actually have more than 24 hours in my day. Why? Because I make money when I'm not working. You may have 24 hours in your day. Well, you need to figure that out. You need to find a solution to maximize your hours. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is you got to know how to use somebody else's money. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no way around these principles. There's no amount of prayer. There's no, you can't work 3 jobs. You like buying a G-Wagon using Section 179. None of those things are going to help you unless you learn how to leverage and delegate. None of those things are going to help you unless you get out of the state of confusion. And there's a cost to getting out of the state of confusion. And if you want to know if you're still confused, just calculate how long you're going to have to work. I don't want you to have a dream board goal. I need you to have a realistic goal. And how do you do that? Calculate how much money is going to cost for you to live over the next 20 years. Calculate how much money you're compounding through cash flow right now. Calculate how much money you have set aside, and then ask yourself, if I had to stop working today, does my money stop? I don't want you to say, well, if I start a business, it don't work like that. Well, don't say, well, if I invest in this, it don't work like that. If you're not generating cash flow, meaning somebody is paying you when you are not working, and if you're not leveraging somebody else's money, just like hedge funds, you will stay in a state of confusion. I need y'all to go to roundtreemasterclass.com. I'm hosting a free webinar today. I'm going to show people how to utilize other people's money. Look, this is over 7 figures in credit. This is over 7 figures in credit. This is how we buy real estate. This is how we start. This is how we buy businesses. I don't believe in starting new businesses. But if you don't know these principles, that's okay. You will just continue to stay where you are, and that's okay too. That's okay. Look, live in your truth. Live in your truth. It's okay. And that's the thing I keep telling people. It's okay to live in your truth. If your truth is that you're just fine with your circumstances, then that is okay. Just like I tell people around me, as long as you're okay with your truth and you're not complaining to me that life is unfair, then I'm okay with you living in your truth. But if you're not willing to change what you don't like about your truth, then that's on you. Don't ask me to borrow no money when you're 78. Don't ask to come live with me. Don't have, no. My couches are not for sleeping. They're for sitting on. My couches are not for sleeping, especially for strangers. If you sit on my couch for more than 2.5 hours, you got to go. They're not for people to sleep on. I need y'all to go to roundtreemasterclass.com. Sign up for my free webinar. It's free. Let's have some fun this year. That's what I enjoy doing. Look, I'm living the best time in my life, y'all. I am having the best at 46 years old. Never in a million years I would have thought at 46 is when I'll have the most fun in my life. I'm having the time of my life because I get to spend it how I want to. I get to help the people that I want to. I'm going to leave y'all with this. I honestly see how people say they feel good when they give. And I can remember when I was able to retire my mom's. Like, I didn't make a big speech or a big thing about it. You know, for anybody who know me personally, like, I'm a pretty private person. And like, to be able to like retire my mom's, like, that was one of the best things I could have done. To the point to, if anybody who know my mother, they know she travels for a living. And it wasn't luck. It was because I was willing to get out of the state of confusion. You know, to be able to, you know, see some of my peers around me, lives change, their zip code change. You know, I have a one of my mentees who is a boss in his own right. What time the group coaching for? Do you start your group coaching for the REI 90? We do them at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for group coaching. I have a client by the name of Justin Isidore out of Texas, and Justin told me a story. He's like, "Man, Will, I was a high school coach. You know, probably barely making 50 grand a year." And when I came across your information, it was easy. I just had to pay for the solution. And now this man has $1 million real estate portfolio. He has I think a FedEx or Amazon trucking route. He did 1.4 million last year. 1.4 million last year. But it was because he was willing to get the proper steps and get out of the state of confusion. And even to this day, Justin still invests in himself. Or my client, Juan Solomon, who said, "Will, I heard you on Bill Bellamy's podcast, and you made it sound so easy." He said, "I've spent tens of thousands of dollars going to real estate workshops, and I left more confused than before I got there. You broke it down utilizing simple math. How do I get started? Signed up, joined my REI 90. He has been in for less than a year. He's closing on his third property next month." Ladies and gentlemen, I can keep going. I have a multitude of stories. Shout out to my brother Chris Joseph, CJU, Christopher Joseph University. Was doing his thing, working, I think, at Foot Locker. Came to my corner class in Houston, Texas. Christopher Joseph, 7-figure earner. Thing I always appreciate about Chris is because he tells people, man, if it wasn't for Roundtree, I wouldn't have been able to get out of the state of confusion. See, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have to convince you that your life is where it's at. You lay down in your house on your pillow and have to look in your mirror and see the stack of bills on your countertop. You know what your retirement account looks like. You know how many times that you have to create something out of thin air just to survive. That should be your motivation. That should be your motivation. Because this really is simple, y'all. It's just because you're in a state of confusion, you complicate it, and you don't have to. So go to roundtreemasterclass.com, join the free webinar. But now, here's what I will tell you. If all you're trying to do is just jump on webinars, you're going to stay in confusion. You are going to have to execute. Could you imagine saying, "Oh, I want to buy a McDonald's franchise," and you go to McDonald's University in Chicago and you don't never buy a franchise? Like, you're just going to stay in the same position. So roundtreemasterclass.com. I appreciate y'all hopping on this live. And I guess I'll see y'all on the webinar here shortly. All right, y'all. Peace.